people know about you and the more people that can speak good about you, what you want. This definitely, when somebody makes calls, they're going to immediately call your head coach that you work under now. Say, hey, tell me about him as a coach. Right. I mean, and if they can say good things about you, that's what you want. So continue to network with different coaches, continue to build relationship with different coaches, and continue to put yourself out there. It's okay if you know anybody looking for a GA or anything. I just let them know I'm available. I'm hardworking. I try to do this. I'm this team. It's okay to do that, and then it's okay to also email coaches, say, hey, my name is blah blah blah. I'm just looking for a GA spot. If you have anything open, these are my skills. This is what I'm good at. This is who I've coached under. Have some references, like even the coaches. And ask them, put them down. It's like, this is my reference. This is my reference. They'll look at it, and you may not get an email back, but then you might as well. So you got to be able to bet on yourself and take chances. So like, be a star on your role, build those relationships, and bet on yourself.
All right.
If you want it to be done, dude, it's going to happen. Trust
me. Man, because I've been like I've taken work off. I'm a teacher, so I was like, coaches are like, hey, you can come to practice. We got to practice at 11:30 a.m.
Right.
And I'm like, well, I'm just going to use my sick time. Like, I'm not showing up. Like, I'm going to go watch this practice. Right. You know, like, it's been like that, like, grind. And then, like, here in Minnesota, it's such a tight-knit, like, community. Like, St. Thomas University, they just went from D3 to D1.
Right.
And I coach that kid. I coach his two kids for varsity.
Right.
And they have 3 spots that opened up at, for D1, now they're D1. And I'm like, all right, well, he knows that I'm not ready yet. And so and then I don't want to, he comes to dinner with us after our games to kind of give us like tips on things that he saw. And so I'm like, okay, my wife is telling me, ask him for a job. I'm like, no, I don't want to ask him for a job. Like, then it makes it weird. So it's just a weird, like, dynamic.
I definitely understand that. Because like I said, I was in the same position, and it feels weird. Because you wanna ask him for a job. That's your first thing. Like, hey, I'm here. Can I come join you? But it's okay to ask, hey, can I learn under you? Can I be, maybe if you have a GA position, can I get that? Can I just learn under you and be able to learn from you as a coach? And maybe he says yes, maybe he says no, but that doesn't change your relationship either way. Continue to ask him questions. Continue to pick his brain for advice. And the more coaches see that you're hungry for it, because that's the same thing with me. I don't have that much experience. I've been a high school coach for 2 years, and I mean, they see that you're hungry. They see that you're willing, and they see that you know the game. Experience goes out the window. So continue to study the game as much as possible. I've watched games all day long, like literally, because I substitute teach now, and I do player development and stuff with the school. But when I'm not there, I'm watching basketball 24/7. I'm studying basketball. I'm studying coverages. I'm studying pick and roll stuff. And that way, when a coach calls me and say, "Hey, what do you think about this kid?" And I explained that this kid is good at this and this and this. I said and then I know the systems that the coaches are playing. So, for example, Ole Miss calls me 2 weeks ago about this kid named Eric Van Dan Huygen. I think that's his name. But he was originally committed to go to Louisville, and Louisville's coaching staff changed, and Ole Miss called me and said, "Hey, what do you think about this kid?" And I was able to tell him, "Hey, I think this kid is great. He's a 3-and-D type of guy, stretch forward. With y'all swing action, they run a swing action. With y'all swing action, he's definitely a great 4 for the pick and pop. And he's a great passer. So when y'all go to y'all's dribble drive series, to y'all's double screen, down screen, he's definitely a great person to be in that." So being able, they see that I know, I'm like, oh, he studied us. He knows us like that. And one, it'll help them with the kid, and two, it helps me because now they know I know their system like the back of my hand. I know what type of players they recruit. I know what they're looking for. I know that system. So it's easy to bring me in because, oh, I've studied their system. I don't have to relearn everything. And there's of course, some stuff I don't know for sure, but I know enough to know what I'm talking about today.
Right.
And I think the more knowledgeable you can be without being over like know-it-all, without being a know-it-all is big for sure.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem, man. Anytime. And I'm going to put my number in here too in the group so that y'all can text me whenever. I'd love to continue to help y'all out as much as possible for sure.
For sure.
And I'm up 24/7 feel like. So I got a little newborn. He's about 2 months, so I'm up. So anytime you text me, 9 times out of 10, thank you, man. 9 times out of 10, I respond for sure. And if I don't, I will respond. Trust me.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it.
No problem, man. No problem.
Coach, we certainly appreciate that. I apologize about the technical difficulties. I got one more question I wanted to squeeze in before, if anybody else, any of the other guys have some. I want these young guys to understand kind of what they're getting into. And by that, I mean, so I saw a tweet today, Coach Alvin Brooks III from Baylor. They're fresh off a national championship, okay? He's got 2 young sons, 5 and 6 years old. And he says, I'm coming home. On the way home, his wife had sent him a picture. It's his 2 boys sitting on the curb waiting for him. He said, I haven't been home and seen my kids in 27 days. And this is what I'm looking forward to. So this year was an anomaly with COVID, and I know that's extreme. But at the same time, I can tell you, I have a friend in the business who has moved 9 times in 12 years with his family.
Coach, I think
it went out again.
Can y'all hear me? Can anybody hear me?
Okay, there we go. Yep.
Man, it just some quality bandwidth over here, whatever. But anyway, so that's my point, is that you got, people with families moving 9 times in 12 years. A buddy of mine had to move to Japan. He's back. So, Coach Shakir, if you could get into that a little bit. I know you've got a youngster and a fiance, and kind of the conversations that you've had as a young family, kind of right as this thing is getting started for you.
For one, I'm going to go ahead and state it. It's not easy. It's not easy. Having a fiance who wants to see you, of course, they want to see you as much as possible. 2-month-old that you want to see as much as possible. It's not easy. I'll talk about it from the high school standpoint, from where our high school is. I substitute teach, so I get up at 7 o'clock in the morning. I go straight into school. We finish teaching. We go straight into study hall. Then we do weights, and then we get straight into practice. And most times I'm not getting home till about 9:30, 10 o'clock. And that's almost an everyday basis. So, of course, they're going to miss you a lot. And it's hard to not see your family as much as you want to. But you know that in return, you're still helping others as well. And it's more like a service. I see it as a service. Like, I'm serving my community. I'm serving these kids. And you have to find somebody that understands that. Being a coach's wife is ridiculously hard. Like, I commend my fiance all the time. I love her to death. And she's been with me ride or die from day one. She's like, okay, you won't be home when? You're going the whole weekend? So I won't see you till Monday? Okay, well, you better go up there and get them then. Like, she supports me 24/7. And I mean, I feel like I don't even tell her enough that I'm so thankful to have her, because you need that support. And there's going to be days when you're dragging, you don't want to go in, you're on a losing streak. It gets hard. And it's not only hard for you, it's hard for your family, because the basketball team is your family. It's an extension of your family. So when things are going bad with them, it dwells on you, because that's your family. And you have to be able to, one, separate the two. You have to make time for your family, and you have to make time for your basketball. And as you move on to college coaching, it only gets harder. You travel, the distance you travel for away games, the harder you're going, longer. The recruiting during the summer, so it's a 24/7 job. It's no holiday breaks. There's no off time, because your off time you're looking for the next player, or recruiting the next player, or worrying about this player's grades, or worrying about if he's going to graduate here, or worried about so many different aspects as a college coach that it's a constant job. So, like I said, finding somebody that supports that and understands that, and then supports you is going to be big going through life, period, as a coach, because that level of support is what you're going to need to keep pushing, for sure. So, but back to what Coach Maddog said, it's long. It's a long process. Every day is a process. Every day you on a tight knit schedule. And I mean, it's been easier for me because that's kind of how I've lived my life. I'm not a spontaneous person, sadly. My day is planned out to a T to make sure I get everything done. And then after I get everything done, now I can be spontaneous. I can do the other things that I want to do, but I have to make sure I get everything done. I have to prioritize the different things that you have to get done. And I think time management is key as in life, as a coach, as a parent. Time management is big. If you can find out how to prioritize different tasks and get them done when you say get it done and not procrastinate, you're going to be so much better at work, at life, at everything. So, I mean, being a college coach is big time management. And then, like I said, separating family time and time with your family, and then time with your basketball family. You have to be able to do both. And I think that's what's hard about college coaching and about coaching, period. A lot of people don't see that side of coaching. They see the championships, the won games, but they don't see the 9 p.m. study halls that you're at, or the wake up at 6 a.m. for the workouts, or we got team dinner and community service as a team. They don't see those parts. And everybody thinks it's a glorious job, and it is, but you have to love it. If you don't love basketball, college coaching and coaching, period, is not for you. You got to love the game in order to get anywhere, to be successful, and to be sane. People go insane trying to do this, I'm telling you. But if you love the game and you have a good support system, you can definitely do it, man. It's rewarding from even from a selfish standpoint, to look back and say, I got to help all these kids. To the end of the day, that makes me happy. That makes me happier than any championship, any game won, any game lost. Being able to say, I helped these kids, and these kids graduated, and now I get to see, oh, he's studying this in college, or he's now owns his own business. That to me is better than any state championship, college championship, anything. That is what I do it for. And that's what I think, if coaches are in it for the right reasons, I think you'll be all right. You'll be fine.
We appreciate you, Coach. So I just want to open it up to the rest of the guys. I know that Coach Jones asked a question when I was having technical difficulties, but just anybody feel free, if you've got questions for Coach Shakir, please ask.
Fire away, please.
I got a question, Coach. Like you mentioned earlier, when you had your times at those high schools and now transitioning into that college level, and you were trying to be recognized, trying to be, getting those little jobs, what was something or a few things that you did to make sure that people knew that you were right for your job and you excelled and gave your hardest at everything you did?
So far as player development, one thing about me is I told you I built that relationship with my players. So players were able to speak for me. So I didn't have to speak for myself. Players say, oh, he's great. He does this. He cares about the kids. I think the biggest way to talk about yourself without talking about yourself is having people speak for you. And anytime somebody can say something good about you or how hard you work, it's always bigger than you saying it. Now, of course, you have to bet on yourself, and you have to tell, even though it seems kind of uncomfortable, you have to say, okay, well, I've done this, you have to lay that out, and not lay it out as so far as a calculate, like I've coached blah, 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 I've won, blah, blah. It's not about that, but it's laying it out, and so people can see that, okay, well, this is all he has done, and he's continuing to push forward. He's continuing to work harder. That shows. And so, like I said, the more people that can talk for you, is that's going to be your best friend for sure. Like Coach Maddox, one thing about Coach Maddox is the coach that I got, the job that I got, the coach actually called him about me. And I didn't even know. The coach called him first, and he talked and said whatever he said. And then they called the coach I coach for now, the coach I coached for last year, and the college coach I played for. So he made almost 4 rounds of coaching. 4 rounds of calls before even calling me. So, if I wasn't a hard worker and I didn't lead by example and practice what I preached, I may not even got the call. If he would have called Coach Madden, like, he's lazy, I would have never gotten that phone call. So being hardworking, being persistent, practicing what you preach is big, because, like I said, who you know and how much people can speak for you is gonna be your biggest friend. Because, like you said, like I said earlier, they may call whoever from your life. You never know who they know. They could call your second grade teacher like, "Hey," you never know. I'm being funny with it, but you never know who they call. So being you and always being that leader and always leading by example, never give anybody something bad to say about you. And it's okay. Some people may not like you. Like, I'm sure there's plenty of people that don't like me, but they can never say anything bad about me, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to be you and staying true to who you are is I think the biggest piece of advice that I can give anybody. Stay true to who you are. And that way nobody can ever say anything otherwise.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
No problem, man.
I got a question. Hey, Coach. This is Vernon Fields. We originally met. Long story short, we originally first connected on LinkedIn.
Right.
You were originally just talking about the same exact thing that you were talking about on Twitter. Hey, I want to be a college coach. If anybody else, interested, or anybody that's, you can link me to, hey, I'm all for it. And that's when I reached out to you, and I was like, man, that guy wants to do the same thing I want to do, so I'm gonna reach out to him.
I remember
and
that.
then that's when we first connected. And I'm gonna tail in Ryan into it. So I met Ryan on Twitter, and connected with him, and just a post was like, anybody trying to break into the college level, just reach out to me, DM me, and here it is. So long story short, I get to talking to Ryan, and Ryan says, yeah, I want to get you on the Zoom call tonight, or which is a couple of weeks ago. He said, I want to get you on the Zoom call tonight with a coach that just got a head coaching job at Emory and Emory, and his name's KHALIL Shakir. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool, I'll get on it. And then five minutes later, it dawned on me. I was like, hold on, I know this guy. Ooh, I know this guy. I've already met him, so that's how small the world is when it comes to coaching and networking. And right around the corner is like, oh, okay. And I personally met you at a Phenom event too. So
Right.
It was like, okay, well, I definitely gonna get on this call. This is my guy. I'm gonna get on the call.
Of course, man. Always.
My question for you, Coach, I'm gonna kind of put you in kind of like a HR perspective, or just like how would you, what do you see takes to get to the college level? And like, if you were, I know you will be, Coach, soon be a head coach, what would you say, like 3 things it takes to be a college coach, or coach on a college level?
Before I even look at experience, I want to know his drive. How passionate is he about the game? How hard does he work? That's one thing that's been big to me as a player and a coach. How hard you work takes you anywhere and everywhere. I said that earlier in the call. So the first thing I would look at is how hard does he work? How much does he love the game? How passionate is he about the game? That's the first thing. Two, I would look at how much does he know the game? And one thing, if I would do as a head coach, I would like to call the assistants that I have or that I'm looking to hire and just pick their brains about the game. And it could be about a game we just saw. Like, take the national championship game. My first question to you would be, what do you think Gonzaga could have did to balance out the scoring for the three guards? And just listen to what you say. And just, I mean, and it's going to be different from each three head coach, but I just want to see how much you know the game. And by speaking about that, your passion automatically shines through. If you're passionate about it, it's automatically going to shine through. One thing that we did with the Emory and Henry coaches staff that I'm with now, we text throughout the whole game. And we just text about, okay, did y'all see that play? And he's like, hey, you think we can run that play? I'm like, I think so, but this player has to be this player has to be that. And your passion just screams out without even having to say it. So that's two. And then three, how connected are you with players and with other coaches? How many people do you know? How many people that you have a real relationship with? Like Coach Maddog said earlier, recruiting is big. And like I said, that's probably one of the reasons that I got hired for this job, because I did the Phenom and I knew players from all over. I knew coaches. So his network, what is your network? Who is in your network? And I think that's the first three things that I look at before I even look at experience or where you've coached. Because like you said, some people never played basketball. I mean, one of the coaches in the national championship game never played basketball at all. But he studied the game. He knew it. He was passionate about it. And he had the drive and the will to get to where he wanted to be. So experience is necessarily, to me, it's not necessarily the biggest thing on my list. Mm-hmm. Because there's plenty of people that don't have as much experience. Take me, I don't have as much experience as the next guy, but I have that drive and that passion that I think is unmatched by anybody. And that's just me selfishly saying, not trying to be cocky, but I have a certain passion level that I don't think anybody else will have. And I bring that. That's what I'm going to bring. So those three things right there are the three biggest things to me and what would be to me as a head coach.
Gotcha, Coach. Appreciate that answer.
No problem, man.
Hey, Coach, can I go just back, like, your start in, we already kind of talked about that question, but the first time I met Coach Maddog, I kind of laid out kind of everything. I'm like, hey, I'm at this point right now. Here's where I'm at. And I'm asking him, kind of the same thing. Like, okay, what is the thing that's going to happen that's going to pop for me? And I guess, like, when you
I have three things for you. The first thing, networking. When I first became a high school coach, I knew who I knew from, like, when I played, coaches that recruited me, which was great. But networking, as I became high school assistant and continued to grow in that, my network expanded. And the more people I knew, the more people I could learn from, the more people that could speak good about me, is what I've been saying this whole call. A lot of people could speak good about me because of my network was growing. Two, be versatile. That's what I'll say. Be versatile. One thing about me is, I do graphic design for player commits. I do graphics for schools, different basketball programs, different schools in the state. I do Phenom hoops. I write, I scout. I own my own business. I'm a player development. So I have my hand in a lot of different aspects of basketball. So now when they when they hire me, they're not just getting a basketball coach, they're getting everything that comes with me. So if you need, hey, you're like, okay, we can't pay somebody, the funds are low, we can't pay somebody to do this graphic, but you know how to do graphics. Can you do this for me real quick? Sure, I can do it. I mean, being so versatile and being so flexible, you have that ability to do multiple things, and that ultimately helps you. Now they don't have to hire a Dobo because I can kind of do that. And that's one thing with Coach Maddog. Coach Maddog used to give me different assignments. Like one assignment was I was the Dobo at North Carolina State, I believe. And we were playing, I think we played like Duke or somebody. So I had to figure out all the hotel costs. I had to figure out the schedule, the itinerary. I had to figure out what meals we were going to eat, when we were going to get the meals. I had to break it down completely from a Dobo standpoint. And that was tough, man. Anybody that's a Dobo, I commend them, because I had to break it down from, I had to have 3 different options for hotels, 3 different ways of transportation, when to get to the gym, how to get to the gym, when we're going to leave the gym, like all this stuff. So being versatile in many different aspects of the game, as not only just a coach, but as everything else as well, is going to be big for you as well. And then 3, I said it earlier, I think being close with your players. Coaches, when college coaches come to high school gyms, a lot of times you'll see certain coaches, they'll change. They're like, okay, look at me, I'm going to coach my butt off today. And that's not them. And as a coach, you see that. Like I said, when you being yourself, the passion shows through. When you're not being yourself, you can immediately tell. So being close with your players, and coaches see that. One thing about me at West Florence, we had a coach come visit, and he talked to me afterward. He was like, the players really seem to like you. I was like, well, I don't necessarily know if they like me, but I tell them the truth. I'm honest with them, and I care about them. That's a different level of, if you're trusted by your players, you can definitely be trusted by your staff.
Right.
And we all want the same goal, and the fact that the players trust you enough to listen to anything you have to say, whether it's wrong or right, that's big, man. Okay. So the trust from your players, networking, and then what did I say the second one was? I'm sorry.
Close relationships.
Close relationships. Thank you. Yeah. Those are the 3 big things that.
Should I be like, like not even, I don't know, I don't want to like name drop or whatever, but it's like Iowa State was there last week to see Trey, or like, do I go up to that coach? Hey, how's it going? Sure. I haven't been doing that. I kind of just like, I'm going to stay who I am, stay in my role, and allow the head coach to go have a conversation with Iowa State, Illinois, or Michigan State. Like,
and I've done this as both a player and a coach. As a player, I was a good player, I guess, but we had schools come in to see other players that were better players than me. So I remember Frank Martin came in, and I already knew kind of who he was, and we've had conversations before. But anybody that came into our gym, I made sure to speak to. After practice, whenever the head coach was done, I was next in line to come speak to him. It wasn't me asking for a job. It was saying, hey, thank you for coming. My name's Coach KHALIL. I do this and this here. I just want to say thank you for coming. I appreciate it. If I could possibly maybe get your number and stuff, just to stay in contact and be able to learn from you, that would be great. Okay. Some coaches were like, I don't really want to do it. I don't want to give you my number. That's fine. And you'll have to take that. And some coaches be like, sure, man. Hey, here's my number. Or they might even give you an office number, which college coach, the office number is a number they don't check really. But still, they know you. They're going to remember your face.
Right.
And then that's when you just start building that relationship. So I would definitely say, if anybody that comes into your gym, first talk to your head coach about it. But anybody that comes to your gym, after they finish talking to them, and it's that kind of window before they talk to the player or after they talk to the player, go introduce yourself. Go introduce yourself. Say, hey, I'm this and this. I'm trying to learn. Any advice you'll give me? By any chance, can I get your number to maybe contact you here and there? And you'll be surprised at how many coaches that say, yeah, sure, man. So definitely do that.
Okay.
Because
I did that once with a guy from, and Coach Maddog knows him, Abe Waters-Lassie, D3 head coach here in Minnesota. And I just felt comfortable because he had like that welcoming energy.
Right.
And I did that. And so it like turned out great. That was the guy, like I took off work to go watch practice. And he's like, hey, I'm going to come to your games. But then when those like D1 guys come in, I don't know, I just get like, oh man, I'm not going to go approach.
It's the same thing. One guy that I ended up meeting, his name is Tim Kane at Murray State. I got to meet him over a Zoom call, and I kind of did the same thing. I kind of sent him a private message in the chat, like, hey, I love what y'all are doing at Murray State. I just want to be able to learn from you. Can I get your number? Send me his number. I waited a couple days. I shot him a text, said, hey, when you're free, can you let me know a time that I can maybe hop on a call with you just to get some advice? Got on a call with him, and now to this day, me and him, he just called me yesterday, and we talk on a regular basis. Not even about basketball. He's like, hey, how's the kid doing? I mean, it's not even about basketball, but it's because I took that chance of just trying. Okay. Some coaches, and I've had a coach, I'm not going to name his name, I've had a coach I did that with, and I saw that he read the message and never responded. And like, it hurts. It's like, okay, dang it. Right. But it's life. You're going to be told no sometimes. You got to be able to deal with that. So you'll be surprised at how many Division I coaches will say, yeah, sure, and invite you to practice and everything. So definitely do it. You're going to get more no's than you're going to get yeses, but the yeses are going to mean something. And those are the guys, the guys that say yes are going to be the guys you want to build those relationships with. Okay. Because as you start to have, even when you become a top assistant or a head coach at college, when you start to have players, college coaches are going to want to talk to you for the player. They're going to, oh, hey, man, how you been? I remember this and this and this. It's not going to be a genuine thing. But those guys that said yes to you a long time ago, those are the guys that are going to remember you. That's going to be genuine. Hey, now you got a player. It's like, hey, you got this player now, and you're going to want to give your player to him because you trust that guy. Right. Because he gave you the time of day. You learned and you built that relationship with him. Those are the guys you want to trust. And those are the guys you want to build those relationships with. Because there's going to be a lot of guys that you meet in life, period, that are just not genuine guys. And being able to understand that and take it with a grain of salt, you got to kind of separate that. You got to separate the real from the fake. That's how I like to say it with my players. You got to be able to say the real from the fake. And the ones that are real, you want to stay with them. Because those are the guys that are going to help you get further in your career, further in your aspects. Because Tim Kane, the guy at Murray State, he has the same goals I do. He wants to move up too. He wants to be a head coach. So we all got the same goal, whether it's just different levels. Right. So he can help me, and I may know somebody that can help him. And now that connection, it just keeps going in a circle. And now we keep growing and growing and growing in that relationship. Right. So I think that's going to be big, man. Definitely go out and speak to as many people as you can.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem, man.
All right. Does anybody else have any questions for Coach Shakir? John.
How you doing, Coach?
I'm good, man.
I wanted to ask about training and how you built up your clientele base and moved on from there. And I know right now it's really hard to get gyms times and spaces and stuff like that. So I was wondering how you adjust with that and everything.
Luckily, I haven't had to deal with too much of the COVID bother because I coach at a private high school. So so far as our COVID restrictions was a little different than most high schools. So I was able to train still through COVID. We had certain protocols, but I was able to still train through it. But building your clientele, one is it started off word of mouth. Players you coach, players you know, players that trust you. Hey, bring them in for a workout. The workouts, first couple workouts may be free. It's like, hey, I just want to get as much people in here so they can see the level of your product. And I say product because I feel like you're selling something. You're selling yourself in the way you teach the game to others. So I brought in, I think my first workout, I had a workout of 15, 4 college players, and the rest were high school players. and I just brought them in and just worked them out as hard as I could, the best work I could do. And they loved it. And what they do, they told more people. So the next workout was free, brought in the next one. They went from 15 to 25. And so now I'm with 25 kids all by myself trying to work on stuff, which got hard. But still, I kept the same level of workout, same level of intensity, because that's who I was. So I kept that same level through each and every workout that I did. And now the word of mouth got out there. And now that I kind of built that clientele, I was able to start a social media page and reach kids that are further out from just my area. So now I work out with kids from Charlotte. I work out with overseas guys, work out with guys that are actually G League players, stuff like that. It's because my clientele grew and the word of mouth and my level of product was at a high standard. So my thing I would tell you so far as building a clientele is start off small and then just be at a very high standard and stay at the high standard. Never waver from the high standard. Mm-hmm. You want to keep yourself at the highest level possible. So that way, even if you don't reach that high level, you're still at a very high level. So my biggest advice is, one, like I said, keep it small and start off with, even the players that you know, they could be good, they could not be good. You just want to give them a high quality that makes them want to continue to come back. And then when you start to get into the business of training, and which it sucks because it takes away a little bit from the heart of it. But when you get into the business of training, it's about the kids, of course, first, but then it's about the parents. The parents have to trust that you're giving their kid a high quality workout. Right. And they go and be like, oh, this doesn't seem like a high quality. My kid, he came home, he wasn't even tired. He went and played a video game. Parents are the ones that are going to pay, not the kids. So you got to have that high level, and you have to keep that high level so that when the kid loves it, he goes home and say, Mom, the workout was great. It was hard. I feel like I got better today. I want to go back tomorrow. And then the parent comes tomorrow and is like, okay, this is a good workout. All the kids are sweating hard. They love it. Mm-hmm. And that's how you continue to build that clientele. And the biggest marketing, because I went to school for marketing too. Right. The biggest marketing is word of mouth. Mm-hmm. That's going to build your clientele faster than any social media, any videos. Now I post videos because the parents want it. Because at first I didn't want to post videos, but then the parents were like, hey, did you take any videos of my son today? I was like, okay, so now I start taking videos and posting it, and it does help with marketing, but it also helps with, again, that level of the high quality level. So now the videos are coming out. Yeah. So stuff like that. It's just keeping yourself to a high standard and holding that standard.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Coach, I had another question for you.
No problem, man.
So you mentioned back at your high school, and you kind of briefly went into this a little bit, that you had those two players that went up D2. You had all the accolades, all state, all area. You just went into it a little bit of word of mouth and stuff like that. What were some ways that you took those players and you really pushed them and got them in the limelight of, getting them in the eyes of higher up coaches and, pushing their basketball future to like the highest they could have possibly went?
Okay, I'm going to start off with this. Excuse my language. I have a no bullshit policy. So anybody I work out with, I'm going to be me. I'm going to be as hard as I can be. I'm going to get in your face. You're not going to like me, but I'm going to hold you to a higher standard than you hold yourself. So we started off with workouts. They came to me and said they wanted to be college players. They were both like 5'4", 5'5", like they were short kids. But they came to me and they came with the right work ethic. So the first couple of workouts, just to break them in, were at 5 o'clock in the morning. And they like, God, I gotta get up for this 5 o'clock workout. And I did it like that on purpose, because after the third day, I said, okay, do you see how hard it was to wake up every day at 5 o'clock? Mm-hmm. That's what you got to do to be better. He said, you tell me how many high school kids are waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go work out right now. I said, you're already different. Now that you're different, you got to stay different and continue to work harder than everybody. So I did that for them for that reason alone. And now throughout the season, we worked out two times a week. I mean, 2 times a day. They would come at lunch and be like, "Hey, coach, I got an hour for lunch. Can I come get some shots in somewhere?" Like, they would sacrifice their lunchtime, sacrifice friends. I mean, the level of work they put in to go from decent 5-5 players to college level players, they put in the work, man. And as a trainer, you love that, because anytime a kid comes to you and has that work ethic, I'm going to give my all to them. And then when it came to college coaches calling, like, "Hey, you got this kid. I know he's short, but I mean, what is his work ethic? How's his attitude?" I can say from a standpoint, like, the dude works his ass off. Like, he's my hardest worker I've ever had. He knows the game. He loves the game. I mean, that was amazing just to see that change. So you got to teach them how to be different. Excuse me. And then the work ethic that goes into being different and being better. So I think those are the main two, I would say.
I like that, because, like, nothing comes easy in sports, so you gotta break them in. That I like that, breaking them in at 5 a.m. That shows a lot. That shows a lot.
Anybody that comes up to me and says they want to be college players, I do that. I break them in and make it as hard as possible, so that I need to know if you're gonna quit on me.
Mm-hmm.
And if you quit on me, then you can't be a college player.
Exactly.
But if you continue to keep going and to keep working through that, even though it's hard, I know you're willing to put in that work, and I know that I can work with you.
I like that, because, like, I personally am junior in high school right now, so I understand. Right. It takes that hard work to get there. Even though I've never been in the college level or anything, I understand that it takes hard work just to get there. And
oh, definitely, man.
Like, go out there, perform. They give it their all, and you can easily tell.
Definitely, and I say it from a player standpoint. I wasn't the best player. I was a Division II kid, and I mean, some people said I was low major, whatever. I don't get into all that. I worked out 3 times a day every day, except Sunday, because I couldn't, because of church and everything. But 3 times a day every day for pretty much from my sophomore year to my senior year. So I mean, from freshman year to senior year, my level of play and understanding of the game got so much better because I worked at it. I studied the game, and even when I wasn't at workouts, I was watching film. I was watching games. I was watching highlights. I watched anything basketball I can get my hands on. So being able to study the game and to work on it that much, it was worth it. And it allowed me to be a completely different player by the end of it. And to this day, I mean, I don't think I would have ever gotten anywhere without that. And that's me saying, from a D2 kid, that I didn't go play pro afterwards. I had a chance to, didn't want to. My life was based on my work ethic, and I learned that through doing that in high school. So even now, like, my biggest attribute, I think, is my work ethic. Like I said early in the call, and it's not a cocky thing. I don't think anybody will work harder than me, ever. And you have to have that. And that, like I said, it shines through without you even saying it. You have to be the hardest worker, and you have to be willing to work harder than anybody and everybody.
Being the hardest worker at all times. I like that.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I mean, hard work, you learn so much. You get better so fast just by zoning in and locking in and focusing on being better and holding yourself to a higher standard. Like, it was times where, even playing in high school, you would have a great game. Say I had 25, and my mom's like, "Oh, good game." I mean, not my mom. My friends are like, "Good game." My coach like, "Good game." I would get in the car. My mom be like, "Listen, you had 3 turnovers. Why?" And I mean, as a kid, it's hard.
Yeah.
My mom, like I said, I learned that from my mom. I had no bullshit at all. She took no bullshit. Yes, you had 25 points. Your dude scored on you 4 times. You missed 3 steals. You didn't blocks out. That's what the conversations were coming home.
Yeah.
And as a kid, it's hard to deal with, and you don't really understand it, because you like, everybody said I had a great game, but it's that level of, she knew you had a good game, but you didn't want to be good. You wanted to be great. So here's what you missed, and this is what you need to do to be great. So next time, be better at it.
Right.
I think out of my entire high school career and college career, my mom has told me good games maybe 8 times all together. She's like, you played well, but it's always a but. To this day, like even coaching, she's like, you coached your ass off, but you probably should have told the coach to call timeout here, or you should have, when he came out of the game, you should have talked to this player about this because he was turning the ball over a lot. Like that's just how my mom is, and I respect it as now I respect it. As a kid, I was like, man, she always getting on me. I'm doing the best I can. She don't know what she's talking about. You say that as a kid, but when you get older, you realize that, man, they really teaching you gold. It's just at a young age, you don't quite understand it yet.
Yeah, I feel that. My parents are the same way. And no matter how good you think you are, how matter good you played, there's always somebody better, and there's always a time to get better.
Definitely. Just listen to what they're saying and not how they say it. That was always big for me. My high school coach cursed us out from beginning of the game to the end of the game. Any word you can think of. I didn't had him jack me up against the locker room once. It's not about what they're saying. Not about how they're saying, about what they're saying. And they do that to get the best out of you. So you got to understand all the time, even as a high school kid, know that your mom wants the best for you. So she's never going to tell you anything that's going to hurt you. So it may not be what you want to hear right now, but it's what you need to hear.
Right.
So always remember that, dude. Seriously.
I got you forever, man. Thank you so much.
No problem, man.
Can I ask one more question? Sorry to everybody else. I keep asking all these questions, but
No, I love it, man. Keep asking.
Like I mentioned earlier, I didn't play in college, and so but you know, my networking is starting to build. But my question is how do I get the recruiting experience? Because I've been applying to, I think I applied about in the last 2 weeks, like 15 different colleges, either, you know, at the women's level, assistant, men's assistant, D3, D2, D1. I've been kind of applying everywhere. And as I look at the qualifications, a lot of it is like, have you played college? And they're asking that because they want to know if you're able to recruit. I know, you know, that's one of the things. And so how can I be attractive to those colleges, although I don't have that recruiting experience or that college coaching experience that they can say, well, at least he knows how the recruiting works, you know, or.
Right. And what I talked about earlier about knowing the system, their systems. So the college coaches that you know, I would say, one, get to know their systems, and then two, recommend players for them. That's one thing I did even as a player. I was like, hey, I don't know if y'all seen this kid before, but I think this kid will fit well in y'all system. This is what he does well. This is what he needs to work on. And this is how I think he'll fit in your system. And they may look at it and be like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But some coaches would take a really good look at it. And I've gotten lucky to have had some success stories with that. It's a kid that I recommended to Clemson. And he wasn't even on their radar. And I recommend, I said, hey, this kid's good. It's somebody y'all should look at. They look at him, they figure out that he's good enough for them, they offer him, and he commits on the spot. And so now it's like they remember, hey, this dude is the one that helped us get this kid. Like, we didn't even know this kid. So technically that's recruiting experience because you're helping colleges recruit. Now I know you can't necessarily recruit and get that experience from that level, but being able to suggest players for them and suggest different kids for them, I think is a good start at least. And that's one thing I think helped me as well, just being able to, hey, this kid's from the back gym. I like to say back gym because the kids that under recruited, under notice, basically. Say, hey, this kid played in the back gym just now. He's on this team. He, not even points, he controlled the game. His pace was great. I mean, he looked like a college player. I think what y'all are needing, I think he fits that.
Okay.
So how I would kind of start off, just recommending the player. Yeah, just piecing different players in certain coaches' ears. And definitely because the coaches trust you and you have that relationship, they're gonna say, okay, well, I'll check him out. and they'll check him out and be like, maybe he's not good enough for us. Or some be like, okay, well, we may talk to him a little bit and see where we're going to go with this. So, I mean, I think that's big for sure. Even with the staff that I'm joining this year, it's a kid that they knew but didn't really know kind of if he was good enough. So I said, hey, I've talked to this kid. I think this kid is good enough. And now they have a Zoom call with him on Wednesday or tomorrow. And the kids can play. So, I mean, just recommending players here and there that maybe they haven't seen or as outside of their region, I think is going to be good because 3 coaches, their budget for recruiting is a lot smaller. So their area of recruiting is going to be a lot smaller. So if I'm a South Carolina coach and I'm like, okay, I can recruit South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, everybody in this area. I can't see the kids from Texas or Indiana or places like that. So it would help me if somebody said, hey, I got this kid from Texas. He fits y'all, man. He does everything that y'all looking for. Just check him out. Now I don't have to go all the way over there to go just find me a player. I have one to look at. So now when the head coach says, okay, I'm going to go to Texas to see this kid right here that he recommended me, you kind of build that credibility with those coaches.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking like, so Dave Richmond, that's kind of why I'm wearing the NDSU sweatshirt. David Richmond has been a mentor of mine and has had my wife and I down or up to North Dakota to kind of, do some stuff like watch practice and do things like that. And at practice, he's like, hey, what do you guys got? And at that moment, I didn't know, like, yeah, we got Trey Holloman, but I know Trey Holloman isn't going to NDSU. He's going to go to a high major D1. And so at that moment, I didn't know how to answer the question. I'm like, and then I didn't know what is he even looking for? Well,
that's a good question to ask. I mean, hey guys, I don't know y'all. I mean, know what y'all want, but what are y'all looking for this year? And my biggest thing is know all the players that's in y'all's conference. So when that question came up, it's like, hey, we may not have nobody to fit y'all, but down the street at this school, they got a kid. I think he may be the one for y'all. So I mean, that shows that I'm not only focused on my team. I know my area. I know the kids in my area. I know that gives you a better look and makes it easier to answer that question. He was
probably testing me in that moment to see.
And I've learned that a lot of coaches test you in different ways, and you may not even know. But it's definitely like he said earlier with Chuck Martin. He brought him in and told him, "Hey, run this workout."
Right.
Chuck didn't know what was going on. He's like, "Okay, well, I guess I'll run the workout." They do little tests just to see where you are, and they get a feel for you. So when those stuff come, be ready. Right. Be ready. Be prepared.
Right. And so that's why I felt at that moment, I was like, oh man, I fumbled that one. And so and you talked about watering the relationships. And so, the first time it was like, hey coach, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. Can I come down? Sure, come down. And then it was like, hey, thanks for having us. It was great. Boom.
Right.
And so now, I know he's super busy. I'll send the email like happy holidays. He's like, oh, thank you. Right. But that gets kind of drawn out.
Repetitive.
Exactly.
Yep.
And so I'm like, okay, I know I emailed him about going up there to like run his camps. And that's something I'm going to be doing around the whole North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota thing, like working a bunch of college camps just to get my name out there. But I want to have a kid that I can like, hey, here's a kid, like.
Right.
But then it's like, you being a scout, how are you able to identify those kids who are, D3, D2, low Division I, high Division I? There's a kid we have at Cretin-Derham Hall. He's 6'9", and I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna train him all summer. Man, he's 6'9". I know he can go, low major D1. and the kid is not panning out, and the coaches are like, I don't know what you saw, and I'm just still that young coach. I'm like, man, look at him, he's 6'9". They're like, I don't know what you saw. He's not, and he's only getting recruited by D3 schools. So how do you get that lens of who fits in each category?
One, you got to watch a lot of basketball from each level. I watch a lot of Division I, Division II, Division III games to kind of see where the level is. And then two, a lot of things on recruiting are based off potential. I have a kid that's with us now, and when I first met him, I thought he sucked. I thought he was terrible. And then watching him play, he was terrible. But breaking it down, he's 6'9", he's athletic, he has a high motor, he moves very well. It automatically translates to, okay, he's at least a high Division II player just off potential. Then when you work on them and you start adding little skills, not even crazy stuff like, can you rebound well? Can you protect the rim? Can you make layups? I mean, and then you start moving up levels. So like I said earlier, high majors, you're automatically going to see the high majors. You're automatically going to see that. And then Division III kids Division III, Division II are harder because every Division II school wants to recruit a Division I kid. Every Division III school wants to recruit a Division II kid or Division I kid. They always want to recruit that. So far as levels wise, what I do, want to have a guy that I trust, that he's kind of been doing this a little longer than I have. So I always ask him, I say, hey, I think this kid is this level. What do you think? So that's one thing I do. And the next thing I do is I never try to put levels on the kid. I will send the kid I'll send the film to Division III kid head coach and just see what they say. And they say, oh yeah, he may be too good for us. And I say, okay, well then he may be a Division II kid. You got to listen to how people talk about the kid. And that's one thing I've learned from Phenom, being around different coaches while they're watching kids. It's like, he's probably too good for us. And that'd be a Division II coach saying, I was like, okay, so maybe he's a low major type guy. And then you have certain Division IIs like the Queens and Lincoln Memorials, the high level Division IIs, like, yeah, he may be over our level, but I think I can get him. Then okay, yeah, he's definitely that low major Division II type guy.
Right.
So it's all about perspective from different college coaches, and then the potential. Potential is a big what if that college coaches that they love, but they hesitant on because sometimes potentials don't pan out.
Right.
But you got guys definitely that you'll take. What's the guy? Ja Morant. Me and him are good friends. We played on the same team for a minute. We played with each other. We trained with each other. Nobody thought Ja was a Division I kid. I didn't think Ja was a Division I kid, and we worked out together. To start off, I was better than Ja, but his work ethic beat mine. And I worked out hard. He worked out harder. And seeing him go from playing in the back gym, nobody seeing him, to this random coach came and watched him play at Murray State. Like, hey, this kid has been going off. They offer him, he puts in the work, and he balls out of control. So sometimes you don't know. So you have to, I try not to label kids as certain things. I try to let the coaches label him, and then I'll place them after that. If that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Just because I got some seniors, juniors. Like I said, I mentioned earlier that I have a training business that I train, and I don't want to. Again, I'm doing it for the kids. So I'm like, I don't want to start to leverage what I'm doing with these kids to benefit for my own benefit. Like, hey, check out this kid. I trained him. He's a D3 guy, or D2 guy or D1. Like, so yeah, it's just like a weird thing. It's
a weird balance for sure, and you're never really gonna feel comfortable with it. And to this day, I still don't feel comfortable with it because I've trained kids that still don't feel comfortable saying, well, hey, I trained that kid. It's like, what I like to say now is I helped that kid reach his goal. That's how I say it. I don't say, oh, I trained him, I made him better. No, he made himself better. He came to the workouts. He put in the work. I just gave him the drills. I gave him the workout. So I just say I help this kid get to the next level or to his level. So it's just one, how you word things is big. It's going to separate from looking like you're all about yourself to being about the kids still, when you're still trying to help yourself as well. So wording it certain ways, one, helps that, and two, like I said, always doing it for the right reasons. You always still, your focus is still going to be to help the kids. And the more you stay on that reason, the more you stay focused to that, you'll start to shine through. Everybody said, "Oh, well, how did he get to that level?" And now they're like, "Oh, he trained with blah blah blah." And now the kids see that and like, "Oh, you used to train John? Oh, let me come work out with you. Oh, you and John was cool like that? Let me come work out with you." It's all, and I say this to everybody I know because I talk to a lot of trainers. It's an optics thing. They see that I worked him out, and you were his trainer for this, and look how far he's gone. And like, okay, I'm gonna work out with you too, knowing that they don't have nowhere near the same work ethic that he did, nowhere near the same level of skill that he did. They just want to work out with you because you worked out with John Grant. So you tend to shine through those kids by doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
For sure. I just want to make sure that like the things like I'm doing are things that are like pushing me in the right direction. Like having the training business, do colleges like that? I do that. Do they not? Is that beneficial to universities? Because I do put that on my resume, or I just trying to figure out like what are the things that they are looking for as far as qualifications to becoming a college coach. And so that's definitely super helpful. That like recruiting experience, like recommending players to people and doing that. So I'm definitely going to take those things away and start to apply those right away. So I definitely appreciate it.
And definitely, and even if you have kids that even the kids that you train that you don't know what level they are, send it out to them anyway. They may like, oh no, this kid's not good enough. They may say it as blatant as that, and that's fine. But now you know this kid's not good enough for that level. But you want to promote your kids as much as possible because your goal is still to help the kids. So you want to be able to promote them as much as possible, whether it's to whatever level you think they are, or even if you try higher levels. I promoted a kid that I knew wasn't Duke or Murray State or Ole Miss level to them, and they just to see what they say. I'm like, hey, tell me what you think about this kid. And I just wanted to see what you think about him. And they be like, oh, this kid is good. He may be able to help us. And then now, boom, boom. Now you're recommending him a kid. Or this kid's not good enough. I said, okay, well, if he's not good enough, what can I do? Or what does he need to work on to be good enough? So now you get that. Now you know what the player needs to work on from a college coach standpoint. So you get different aspects from different people and you get different viewpoints. And I think that's really big on, one, helping the kid get better, and two, being able to market the kid to different schools and being able to shine through that kid yourself to different schools.
So how do you, what advice would you give me for doing that? Like, because I have the kids that I like train, I have their Huddle account. Like we use this app called like Huddle where you get all their film. So I have all their, like, I've made highlight tapes for some of the guys that I work with. And so I put the ball in their court, like, hey, you should send this to, this coach, or like, a local coach will tweet out, hey, kids, any players feel free to, send me your stuff. But would you recommend me just sending, just that professional email, like, hey, my name is, Cameron Jones. I coach here. I do this. Here's a player that I've been working with. I believe he'd be a player that would be suitable. Like, do you think I should start to do some of those things, or?
I definitely say you should start to do that. And what I do that. And then social media is your biggest friend right now. definitely with COVID, so many people are reluctant to come out of their houses, reluctant to go recruit in person. Posting it on social media is big. For my kids, most of them, I make them send me their highlight tape, and I just post it, and I continue to post it. And I may post it 1 week, wait 2 weeks later, and I post it again, and I continue to post it. I'll DM different coaches, hey, this is just some of the players I train, just in case you may like one of them, just want to help you out in any way possible. And they'll look at it, they'll go through them, and none of these players work for us. Or, hey, this kid at the bottom that you sent, this kid, what is his grades like? Stuff like that. So, and even with the highlight tapes, I always post their grades, GPA, their test scores, anything that a college would have to ask a coach for, I have it posted. Mm-hmm. So that way they already have the grades, they already have the GPA, they have all the stuff that they need to, like, okay, well, we can recruit this player. Now let me get in contact with them. So I make sure I post all of that with it. And that when they call me or DM me like, hey, do you have a contact number for this player? I sure do. Here you go. Nice. And then I tell the player, hey, this coach may be contacting you. Be prepared, be professional. And then the ball's in their court. After
and
go ahead.
Sorry. And are these coaches that you know, or is these just random?
With social media, and I work with boys and girls, which is hard, but I have random coaches from every different level, from different countries. I had man. But I have them DM me too about kids when I post the stuff. I had a coach DM me, I think yesterday, from Italy. Hey, we run a professional club in Italy. We're looking for overseas players. Do you have any players that you can think of that we should contact? So I just send them a list of, I'll send them probably like 15 kids, and just send them kids that are in college already that I think can play overseas. And I just send it to him. Now, what he did with them, I have no idea, but I sent it to him. I have different women's coaches, and it's hard because I don't know as much women's coaches as I do men's coaches. But I posted a girl about a month ago. She's a senior this year, and a women's coach immediately hit me like, hey, we're looking for a 2021 post. We like her. Get me in contact with her as soon as possible. So, I mean, and I was able to help her just because I posted her film and her grades, and she fit their system. So, I mean, you don't necessarily have to email the coaches, but I would do that and then just post it out there to see who comes to you. Because sometimes coaches come to you, definitely, like I said, with COVID going on and the recruiting budgets are lower and stuff like that, they'll come to you and ask, hey, can you get me in contact with this player? Or can I get a full game film, something? So I definitely recommend that for sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to start doing that.
Good, man. I definitely recommend that for sure.
Thank you.
No problem, man.
Well, Coach, I mean, we can't thank you enough. You've been dropping dimes and nuggets all night long. This is, I just want to say that I've really appreciated our friendship through the years, and I know that Coach Thompson made a fantastic decision hiring you, and that this.
Oh, thank you, man.
I look at this as the first of many, steps along the ladder for you, but I want these guys to understand too, that this is their chance. This is their chance to expand their network. Whenever you have a bright young mind, like Coach Shakir, who's willing to share his time and to give you some advice, take him up on it. Just like he's talked about, he's done a fabulous job over time of staying up with me, and we've cultivated a real friendship and a real relationship. So that's why when it came time and the coach called me, it happened to be a guy that I've worked with, a really good young coach himself, Ben Thompson and Emory and Henry. I could talk freely about Coach Shakir. And this is what I know about this guy, right? Like, I've given him assignments and he's on the ball. So he speaks from experience. He knows this stuff, guys. So anything obviously that I can ever do to help anybody here, but also Coach Shakir, this is my idea. I want you guys to start expanding your networks through this. And if this is something that Coach Shakir and I didn't necessarily have, 5-6 years ago when we were thinking about it, we're just trying to pay it forward, pay it back, whatever you want to call it. But I'm really enjoying it because I'm just learning more basketball from everybody. So
I love it, man.
We really appreciate you.
I just put my number, my personal number, and my email in the chat as well. So feel free to shoot me a text with any questions and anything. Make sure you let me know your name and everything, and I'll definitely get to you and answer your questions. As any way I can help, I'm here. I'm here to help anyway. So please feel free to use me and build a relationship with me as well.
And I'm going to encourage them to continue to get up with you. I will say, don't be a stranger to the Kennel. We've got our next Zoom meeting is 2 weeks from now, Tuesday, the 20th. Tyler Sims from Clark University, head coach from Worcester, Mass. And somebody in the group said it best. I think it was Coach Fields earlier, that it's amazing how small our fraternity really is.
Oh yeah.
So I can't tell you again, man, how proud of you I am. And, but I'm not surprised.
Thank you, man.
I'm not surprised.
Thank you, man. And please send me the link, because I'll definitely be on for sure. Send me the link for the rest of them. I'll definitely be on. But just to everybody in the group chat, y'all are learning from a great coach, man. He's a great coach and a great friend of mine, and has helped me through not only basketball but through life. So y'all are definitely in a good place. So pick his brain as much as possible. Be more annoying than I was, please.
Never
just to make it fun for me. Please be more annoying than I was. But definitely learn as much as possible, because he's a guy that's, like I said, he's one of those good guys that's gonna help you as much as he possibly can. So use him and get to know him as a person. The one thing about building your relationships, it's more than basketball. So when you're building those relationships, it's okay to talk about more than basketball. Like we talked about before we got on the call, he told me about his 4 months, and I told him about my 2 months.
Yeah.
I finished. I mean, that's gold, man. We can talk about more than basketball and still have that relationship and still have that friendship. That is where the magic happens, man.
I agree with you, man. I can't wait to watch you on TV when you're cutting down the nets at different levels. So, hey, just give me season tickets. We're in the same state now. So
listen, definitely.
I'll be in the house. So,
I definitely need you at some games. I need you at the first one.
Yes, sir.
Front and center.
I got to get some gear. So anyway, we appreciate you, and we will definitely be in touch with you. I may, once you get settled in, I may even have these guys reach out, and you could give them assignments, kind of like I did to you,
Oh, definitely, man. That would be great.
That kind of thing. So always appreciate your insight and your expertise, and just extremely impressed with you and proud of you, my man.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me, and I appreciate everything you've done for me. And I look forward to continuing our relationship and now building some new relationships. So thank you. Please send me that information for the next Zoom call, and I'll definitely be on.
Oh, I will. And I'll send you everybody the link too when I get this up on YouTube too. So, all right.
Perfect.
Appreciate you guys. Y'all have a good night.
All right, Coach. Y'all do the same.
All right. Appreciate it.
All right.